Hi guys, how you all doing? I was kindly asked by Alex if I would do a room tour for the Radd Titan channel, and because obviously I'm on there quite a bit in between times where I managed to get off of work and diddle around in the office, not doing much, waiting for projects to arrive. I spoke to him and said I'll do this. So anyway, you'll find this on my channel. I don't use it that much now, but it's called Chris Blue 007. Don't get as much time as I used to, sadly. Family commitments, other things, a couple of other hobbies outside, but this is sort of the hobby of passion for me. I have other things, but this one that I've been into for about 5 years now, and I used to start off originally with things on the left. I used to get sort of DVD limited box sets and bits and bobs and stuff like that. But then I went into the collectibles sort of arena. And I have done a room tour. It is on my channel. So what I'll do with this one, just to make it different for me and interesting for you, is just talk about a few of the items and how I got about them. The first one that started it all off for me was that little gem down there. I still love it even now. It's the first one I ever got, and it's a very popular one, and it's not necessarily one that's huge in terms of you know, lots of people want it. It's limited, it goes up in price or anything like that, but it's still one of my favourites, and it's the Sideshow's T2 T800 bust. Funny how I bought this. There was a website called play.com in the UK until it went bust. For I don't know a reason, tax evasions, I don't know, skipping something or other. And I ordered it, and I noticed every couple of months it was about to come out, and I thought I was going to get it. It kept getting delayed all the time. Delay, and I thought that's odd, not knowing about collectibles, and it's actually a common thing. So I went on eBay, and some guy had one of these, a combat version, and I said, can I get it off you? And he said, yeah, you can pay me in cash or I'll send it to you. And I looked up his address, and he was only 45 minutes from me, so I thought, I'll tell you what, is it possible to go over there, look at it, collect it, and I'll give you the money in cash? So I said, yeah, here's the address. I'm at work at the minute. So he gave me an address. I drove over the next day, and little did I know that it was quite interesting that the place he was working at the time was doing the Star Wars effects for one of the movies. I can't remember whether it was, I think it's after Force or in between Force Awakens Episode 3, something like that. And I walked into the office, and this huge sort of life-size Star Wars figure was done, and he's sitting on his computer. One of the other people said, look, yeah, he's sitting over there, and he's doing some of the effects for it. I thought, well, that's amazing. I thought the effects all done in America, or they're done in some other studio, Pinewood Studio, something like that. He said, no, they're all done in different places, and they'll all process and they go off to somewhere else. And he had this sitting on there. It was combat version at the time. And I took it away, took it home, and I thought, this combat version looks nice, but I've always wanted a chrome one. So I looked up some YouTubes, and you can easily remove it and make it, doing it carefully, in a nice, shiny sort of effect. So that's what I've done, and ever since then, I got the bug. I had lots of savings at the time, and I went crazy. And straight after that, I went and ordered another 3 other items. My first Sideshow one was this T600 down the bottom bust. That's the first one. I've done all the you know, show that has proved it's me and all of that, and they had that in stock, and that was my first successful order. And at the same time, I was still looking on eBay, and I got the T3 bus, similar sort of thing. Drove to someone about an hour away. Picked it up at his house. He had a huge rack of collectibles items there. Most of them were sadly already sold because he wanted to buy this really nice sports motorbike, and I took that one off of his hands. A bit more expensive though. I think I paid about 600 for it, but it comes in the box, works perfectly, brilliant, and job done. And also at the same time, I went on Amazon, and I saw this one. I didn't know what a popular piece this would be in the end, which is the Sideshow Alien Warrior maquette, and I picked that one up too. I think that was going out, what the time is then, I think it's about £650 and boxed up and brand new. They already stopped making it, so I caught it just in time, right at the end when I guess there's only one out of stock left. And I was very pleased to collect that one, and it's actually still my favourite one now. I have seen a guy on one of your groups, I can't remember who it is, but he's had it redone by Yusuf, if I can pronounce his name correctly, or as I called him, Negan, because he looks like him, and he's had it resprayed and it looks beautiful, but I don't really want to have to pay it again, so I'm paying double for the same item, and I'm very happy with this. I think the spray paint job was done brilliantly on it. I have polished up a little bit because it was more of a matte colour, so I've made things like the head nice and shiny, so it looks like more like a glassy effect. And I also carefully, I know there's a reflection in there, I made the teeth really carefully into chrome teeth rather than the silver teeth. It's the only thing I touched. Just changed the teeth. They're small, I've got a steady hand, so I made them chrome after getting some advice on what to use, how to do it correctly. Last thing I want to do is mess it up, because that would be a crying shame. Then I went and discovered a company called CD UK who had one of these in stock for £500, just under £500. I had to get it. Bruce Lee, Game of Death one, really loved it. Best face sculpt I've ever seen, that I've owned or anyone else's in person, that is. And absolutely awesome at a good price, because I believe this is you can buy this now, I guess it's double the price. But anyway, that was very exciting. And then I moved house, and I moved into this room which you see now, which was actually a carport. It wasn't like it looks now, that's right, it was actually a carport. That back wall wasn't a wall, it just went through, so I had to get professional builders to build the wall, plasterer to plaster the walls, and electrician to get all the light sockets up. So I've got electricity in here, and obviously I put the carpet down myself. So that was an expensive thing itself, but in the end, like everyone else, and I've seen on all your groups, you get rewards for it because you've got your own little sort of dojo room, chill out room or whatever, which is this little one room that I've got now. So that was awesome, because originally when I had the other bits, I looked at them, they were nice, they sat on my sitting room table, and then I just shoved them back in the box, so it was to never be seen again. Now at least I can have them on display. And then I landed up looking at a channel called Robot Online who had these sort of cabinets, and I thought, yeah, I need some cabinets. I can't have all this stuff, have a room that I've spent a lot of money on, and have nothing to have them on display with. Because of the manner of the size of the items that I'm going for, most of them anyway, the DTOF stands aren't either strong enough or big enough or both, so I had to go for something else, which is why I got these, which weren't cheap. They cost me around 650 to 700 to 750 pounds each, but I'm glad, I'm happy about it, and it was all done and dusted. So what other ones have I got? What did I get after that? Another one that I picked up. This is the only other one that I think I actually bought secondhand. Everything else is then brand new. Was this one? This guy, funny enough, of all the places, lived literally just 5 minutes down the road from me, and he had to sell this. Sadly, he didn't want to, but his dog was needed a lot of vet bills, and he wanted to sell it. And he originally said £1,200, and I said, nah. I know I lost the bid on eBay to another guy who's £1,200, but you told me that this guy didn't have the money in the first place, so therefore his bids are invalid. But I did originally put a bid down of £1,000 for it. Can I have it for £1,000? And he ummed and ahed and he ummed and ahed, and I thought, right, I'm not going to, through principle of things, I'm not going to give him £1,200 for it. So I left it, forgot all about it. And 2 days later he messaged me. Obviously he couldn't sell it to anyone else, or I don't know what. And he said, I'll take the money if you can give me it in cash, and you can come up and pick it up. So I went and picked it up. It does come in the box. It is in perfect condition, and at the time I already knew it was a really sought after Predator bus, because for some reason they've made a lot of Predator bus even now, cool props especially, but no one seems to be doing Predator 1 busts. I don't understand. They're doing all the other movies, but they're not doing this one. Why is that? Is the license so difficult? Because they make a lot of statues of it, and I really would like to get a statue at some point as well. What came after that was then the Predalien, which was comical because rather than a van like all the others that have been delivered, I got this one arrived in a big truck, and then the guy, I could see him out the window. I thought, what's he doing? What? And then I realised he's actually got a giant box on a pallet truck, and he wheeled it over to my front door. Take the pallet away, please. I somehow managed to squeeze it through the front door, and I got it. And originally, I was a bit underwhelmed. It was the first one that I was actually underwhelmed with, and I thought, oh, I'm not sure I like this. I'm a bit disappointed, and the main reason is because the paintwork is very flat. It's not beautiful colours like I had with Predator or the other stuff after that. But then after 3 to 4 weeks, the more and more I looked at it and had it on display, the more and more I liked it. And now I would never ever sell it for anything. As crazy as I am, if someone gave me probably 3k in cash right now in front of me, I'd still keep it. I'm not one of them ones who likes to sell off items. Once I love an item and it's in my collection, I don't want to get rid of it unless it's something that I've got I'm not sure about. So that stays and stands, and I know even now there's not even that many of these made. I can look underneath it, I can't remember. Yeah, only 500 made, 220, this is the number. Came in a crappy box, unlike the others, it didn't have any print on it, but that's for some odd reason. Then we move over and Darth Vader come out, and again I'm glad I got this just in time, because the Darth Vader bus, which is now available, does not come in this 3-piece with the helmet and the mask and the Anakin head. It just comes as the Darth Vader fixed head. You can always tell because it's tilted the other way as well. And this just arrived while chatting to someone online, and he said, guess what's on Sideshow now? What's that? Because I'm already talking about it for ages. And he said, this one, and it says limited stock. So I quickly snatched it up via Sideshow website, and away it came. Really pleased with it. Next to it there's a gap. I've been waiting, it's probably a 6-month delay and still counting at the minute for the Boba Fett 1-to-1 bust to come out, so I'll have that sitting next to it, and that'll probably be my next review on my channel. But I keep delaying it, and I come around about the 8th of May, I'll probably find out that they'll delay it again another month or two, I don't know. But it seems to be an ongoing process. Something that I was meant to get in November is now waiting till May, which might be June, and I don't know when. I don't have a clue. But anyway, that's the Darth Vader. Trying to pick them in order the way I bought them. What came after that one? The Avatar Legendary Scale statue. Tall and thin is what I can call this one, but beautifully done, and it became more and more popular the longer it was out of stock and sold out, the bust and the statue. And there's a few little flaws with this one. I'm not completely pleased with it, as is some reviews. The tail join seam is very visible on the tail, and I'm not pleased about that. And the bow doesn't really fit in the hand properly. Doesn't matter too much, that's not so much an issue. But one issue they did have, and they told us about, was the lights on all the bases didn't work, or hardly any of them did. So if you got one that did work, you're lucky. Mine was one of the ones that didn't. I did try different transformers after that when I got it home. Bought one just to see if it was that. It wasn't, so they remain as dull pods. Could have done with a refund or a bit of money off of it from Sideshow, but they didn't want to know. And I like the item so much, so I didn't really want to give it back and do that heartbreaking thing which Sideshow seems to have, which is get a hammer and smash it to pieces and get a refund. It just seems so painful. Even if you get a refund or you get a replacement, I can't bring myself to hammer something to pieces, so I'll probably get a friend to do it instead and have a chuckle on video. Down here was the latest piece I got. I got this one just before Christmas time. This is the Rebel Terminator. Two head version. I do have the other head, but the original head, which you see here, which is damaged, is much more for me. Really pleased with this one. This is one of my smaller pieces. It's about 20 inches tall, but really pleased with how it come out. I was worried about the seam on the chest. Turned out the seam on the chest was not an issue at all in the end, and very pleased with it. It's not visible like I ever thought it was going to be. And everything else, detail and buckets and all of that, because there was a little stage where Sideshow dipped in quality. They were up and then they went down a bit. I started producing some plastic items, but then they've come back up again to more top of the game. And I'm pleased that this one turned out alright, because there are certain companies where a bit nervous when they arrived that will they turn out just like I wanted them to. Thankfully this one did come out perfectly, which is good for me. Then I also had, where was it? These two Lord of the Rings, and that one up there, Sauron. I think the Dark Rider was the first one that came. Really nice. It's actually probably my second favourite piece. I don't know why. Because I love the movies and I really love the detail, the size of this one. I think the cloth works for the Nazgul himself on the horse, and the sculpted horse has so much detail on it. I keep looking at it every now and again, seeing all the buckle straps, the wetness on the tongue and the teeth, and the cut saws that he's got on him. The only thing that lets it down for me is I hate the base. They're just blobby, wet, whatever it is. It's not much cop, but I love this. Again, I did have the exclusive. It's got one with the pointing sword, but if I have the pointing sword, it's going to stick out through the cabinet. So this literally just about fits with a couple of millimeters to spare. The Gandalf one, not Gandalf, sorry, the Sauron one was the last in the Lord of the Rings line by Sideshow. They've now obviously don't do them anymore. You have to get stuff in wetter, but I do know that Prime 1 are going to start getting on with Lord of the Rings stuff soon. I've already seen that sneak preview of the base of the Urukai. So that one's nice. That one has the flashing ball. I mean, all the lights and all my stuff do work. I just haven't got them switched on. So that was nice. And again, that's mixed media, which for certain things I prefer. I think it looks nicer. Other things I prefer sculpted. But there you go. You can't have everything. The most expensive piece I own, and the only, funny enough, DC or Marvel piece. I am actually a Marvel fan. I just don't tend to go for those type of statues, even though I have every single Marvel film in a steelbook form, and they're worth quite a lot of money each now. If I wanted to sell them off on eBay, they all go for a pretty penny, and I've got every single one of them. Is the Wonder Woman. Now this cost me a lot of money. I think in UK money I had to buy it through CD UK. I didn't want to go through how much the shipping and the import would cost via Sideshow or Prime 1 or whichever. So I bought it through them, and this was about $2.5 grand. Oh god, if my wife found out I'd be dead. But it's got the best skin tone I've ever seen. It's so good. The veins under the skin, the moles, the blemishes, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really pleased with it. I got used to the hair straight away, because for some reason it didn't need a lot of messing around. I just flick one side backwards, flick one side forward, and just slowly, after a period of a couple of weeks, it just sort of layered itself out to the way that I wanted it to look. And it came out really well. Had no doubts about this one at all when I got it. I always wanted one larger item in my collection which wasn't a bust. So that's the one for me at the minute, and very pleased with that. The other one that also cost me a lot was ECC, two mouth version of the Medusa. Huge bust, again cost me a lot of money. This one and this one here, absolute fortune. These have got removable snake heads, hair, or whatever. You can move them around to any design. I did have them very much sort of flicked to one side looking in one direction. Now I've sort of moved them around all over the place. It's sort of a more attacking version if you were standing in front of her. Really pleased with this. This has got a brilliant paint tone. It's all sort of rainbow effects, sort of different tones to it. It's sometimes it looks pinky, sometimes it looks fleshy, and sometimes it looks purpley, and it depends how you're moving it around. If you've got it against natural sunlight, something I don't do, I try and keep my only back door in this place shut, so there's no daylight coming in at all. But occasionally I've flicked it open, all of a sudden it catches my eye, and I think, well, look at the colour tones, it looks really, really nice. Only thing that I did say on my review of this is I never was keen on the bust. I mean, the stand, horrible, doesn't belongs in a spaceship, but never mind, doesn't matter. This is one of the longest busts I've ever got. This is the Raptor by Chronicle Collectibles, and thankfully, because I'm a bit worried about Chronicle Collectibles of late, especially the Robocop bust, is the paintwork come out really nicely on this. And it's what I mean by longest is you can lose your, well, more than half your arm inside its mouth. But it's also the only one that I've got that actually comes with glass eyes. You can sort of see them sticking out from the side. Not acrylic, not painted on, not decaled eyes, just glass eyes. The other one that accompanies it, which I got before it, was the 1/5 scale T-Rex bust that has got painted on eyes. This has got an excellent paintwork. One side looks a lot more green and jungly, and on the other side I think the sun's meant to be shining against it, and it's a slightly different coloured on the top side of it. It's done really, really nicely. Very pleased with that, and it's the only wall hanging bust I've got. It's the only one I will want as wall hanging, because I find them a bit of a pain, really. They're not something I want to do. And then what I will be doing, I'll be taking those two pictures down, and just above I think the Raptor head, I'm going to have a row of shelves going along, which is going to move along, and the Prime 1 Dino statues that I've got on order, I think I've 4 of them at the minute, will all go in a row along there. Eventually these will go upstairs in the spare bedroom, and I'll get cabinets over that side when more items do come along, but that's later on in the future. It's not something I'm going to do right now. Which reminds me, I've got a Boba Fett premium format. Really pleased with this one. As I said, obviously I'm waiting for the bus, but got the premium format all the same. That's another mixed media one, and it's also one that's on a tilted stand, which I really, really like. Different, very different, rather than the usual stand-up sort of pose. You're slightly tilting down, and obviously you can pose the head any way you want, swap the weapon out any way you want. It's entirely up to you what sort of choice you want to do with it. So I'm really pleased with that. Always my favourite character in Star Wars when I was a kid. Probably the same with most of all you guys. Exactly the same sort of thing. Down here is my Red Sonja. Originally I had the original Red Sonja premium format, but it didn't cut it for me. I was a little displeased with it, and the moment they brought out this one I thought, right, I'm getting rid of the other one. So one of only 2 items I've ever sold and replaced is this one. There was a third one, but I prefer this one. And unless Prime 1, which I heard they might do their own Red Sonja, and if it's better than this, then obviously this will go and it'll get replaced by that one. I don't really want 2 of the same character on display. So for now though, this has the best base that I've got out of the ones that I've seen as well. A few friends that have got bases. This one's really well detailed. There's so much going on, and it's taken so much care. The skin tone's not too bad in the end. I mean, when this originally come out, as always, the pictures are really bad of someone's or wherever it was taken. It's alright, it's not bad. I thought a lot worse. And The only thing I did do is highlight. You can't see it. It's more of in a natural light. I highlighted the hair a bit, so it's got more different colour tones to the hair. Sort of more lighter reds and darker reds inside it, rather than it just being of the one colour variety. Also the tips as well. But against this cabinet light, it's not showing that up properly. It's sort of that and a combination of the camera. This one was one that I ordered on a wait list. This was when I was at my old house, and this Oso, as I recall, came in a box that was gigantic as well, and I could hide my son in it quite easily, and he's happy to play in it like a house. So this was the Medusa, the green version. Never ever will sell this one. I absolutely love this. I've always loved these characters, these Clash of the Titans films and stuff, and the hair's all over to the right hand side, which is what I did do with this Medusa originally to begin with. But obviously there's a lot more snakes on this one. I think this one's got over, I don't know how many snake heads around the back. It's probably 60 snake heads. It goes all the way around the back. It's absolutely huge. And I love the base on this one too. It's fantastic. Never ever get rid of it. Big item, very big base footprint for an item that's, I believe, quarter scale, and this is by Ario Studios. So it didn't hang around long, sold out. I don't know how many they made, I can't recall. It has got a number on it somewhere on the underneath or something like that, I'm not too sure. But anyway, it went and they made a rattlesnake after it. I still prefer this version, so I'm much more happier with this one. I stuck green lights on one side of it, which is why it looks green on one end. So that's pretty awesome. I think I'm pretty much done. I tried to do this as quickly as possible, so not bore everyone. And the Cool Props Alien, this is one that took me a long time to get hold of, because I use CD UK and they use the slow boat shipping method, which takes 3 months rather than a week using a ship. And then the guy was so kind to tell me when it arrived, or he didn't tell me rather, that it was already broken. So I had to wait an additional 3 months on top of that, as well as the time that the slower getting stuff in the CD UK. So when other people had this, I was probably waiting an additional 6 months longer than anyone else to get hold of it. This is the blue edition Alien Warrior. There are a few others, Dog Alien, a big chap. Lots of people said they didn't like the blue, it's too turquoise. On this camera with all these lights, for some reason it does look a lot brighter, but when I'm looking over it above the screen that you're looking at, it is darker, so it's not as bad as it looks. It's another one of these ones, it depends on the light tone, considered how you've done it. It's also done in a nice wet look, so it looks very glossy and nice. And I'm quite impressed with that as well. I like it quite a lot. Also, it's one of them ones you could have in a house, you know, and it look quite classy because it can sit on a shelf anywhere because of the width of it and the length of it. You can get away with it. It's one of them ones, unlike these, which stick out a mile. This one will fit quite nicely without taking up too much room. That will be going on the shelf above because I made this shelf unfortunately too low. Look, it's literally right next to the other bus, so when I do the line of shelves, that's going to go higher up, repaint the whole wall and stuff. So there's a few little project things that I'm going to fiddle around with. That gap there, I've got an Alita Angel, Battle Angel rather, Prime one, which I'm probably going to be a couple of years away. It's a long one, I'm not even going to think about it yet, which will sit in there with something else, who knows, maybe one of the Lord of the Rings pieces in the future. And I'm very tempted now that Chronicle Collectibles said they're going to sort out the mouth on the Robocop bust, the one-to-one bust, to go for that as well, and maybe buy another cabinet on the other end to sit that inside. I want to see what the pictures of it look like first before I gamble on that one. Up there is Sauron. He's in a shelf that I only just fitted up recently because he was sitting where Darth Vader is. But I thought, well, Boba Fett's going to arrive at some point, so I'll stick him up there. There's a massive, huge gap, and all collectibles have issues with space. you've got to try and space them out as much as possible, and if you can, try and not have them right next to one another if you're that lucky. And unfortunately that's another issue that we've all got, trying to fit them out to look as nice as possible and move them around. It's all part of the hobby, it's all part of the game, it's all part of the fun, and I love it. Okay then, so this is Chris Blue 007 for the Radd Titan channel, signing off. I hope you've enjoyed it. Little bit different probably to other people's collections, obviously it's a lot smaller, but for 5 years and the amount of money I've spent on it, I think I've done okay so far. If I'm still around in another 5 years, I can't wait to do a video and see what my collection looks like then. Hopefully it'll have changed and there'll be a lot more additions. Who knows? But anyway, cheers guys, thanks for hanging out for how long I've done this video, and I'll hear from you all soon.